Hi, Chris McLoone here for FDIC International 2024. I'm at the Sutphen booth now with Battalion Chief Muhl. He is with the Huber Heights Division of Fire, and we're taking a look at the new tiller truck that they will be taking delivery of after FDIC. So without any further ado, let's get started and walk down the sides of the truck. All right, well, our first stop is going to be at the pump panel on this new tiller. But before we get into that, talk about your department, talk about the fleet size. Is this the only truck that you run? Talk about that for me.
Yeah, so this TDA will become our main aerial unit. Our rear mount 100-footer will go into a reserve status. And we run out of 3 stations, about 60 members. So it was important that we had water on this as well. Because of our deployment model and the way we run, we wanted to have the ability to put a line in service quickly if we need to. So 300 gallons of water, a 1,500 gallon a minute pump.
So the truck this is replacing was a 100-foot rear mount, like you said.
Yes.
Had the pump, so you kind of went with the same setup there.
Right.
Now with the aerial, did you go with the same reach?
We did. This is an SLTDA 105, so we have the same capacity as the rear mount that we're replacing, except this is on a much more maneuverable platform, and it's a mid mount instead of a rear mount, which gives us flexibility in how we deploy it on a fire scene.
Depending on your municipality, your truck companies will do a lot more than just typical or traditional truck company work. So in this case, there's going to be rescue equipment on this truck, there's going to be extrication equipment on this truck, so it's going to do a lot of different things. When you start adding that much equipment to a rig, you're going to need more compartment space. And one thing tillers are known for is the amount of compartment space that they offer. So talk about, it's not loaded up yet, but talk about the configurations that Huber Heights went with and the capacity of the truck.
Right, so when we were designing all of the things you mentioned, we took into consideration making sure that we had total flexibility and compartmentation and that it was set up to give us the maximum amount of storage space. So we went from 243 cubic feet in the rear mount to 600 cubic feet in this truck. And it's going to meet all of our needs and allow for future growth into the truck.
I was just going to ask about that. You know, a lot of times when we talk about specifying vehicles these days, we're telling people, you know, do not just specify for what you have now.
Right.
Plan for future equipment purchase, because we have no idea, you know.
No, and especially with delivery times and the demographics and all the differences we're seeing now in the industry is allowing for that growth into it.
So Chief, whenever I talk to firefighters or tiller operators from different departments, especially when the truck is new, they talk about the visibility, the sight lines that they're able to see from the tiller cab. That's always their favorite thing to talk about, how they designed it and all the different things that they did. So tell me what you did for Huber Heights, or what Huber Heights did to achieve those sight lines.
Yeah, sight lines were critical for us as well too. So even through the beginning to the end of the design process, we wanted to keep that in mind. It started with this compartmentation here where we left this open with nice sight lines from the cab right down to this point in front of the wheel. The A-pillars at the tiller cab are kept very narrow and in line with the aerial so that there's maximum visibility. And then this camera was installed right here, and that camera provides that line of sight pickup from forward of this tire all the way to the outrigger, and that becomes visible in the tiller cab on 2 adjacent screens to the operator.
Chief, I want to talk about the ground ladder complement.
Absolutely.
And how they're stored on this truck. You were just telling me there were some very specific things that you wanted to have this to be as functional as possible.
Right, one of the reasons that we wanted to go with the TDA was we wanted to increase the amount of ground ladders we were carrying and increase the lengths because of demographic changes in our communities. So these are intentionally stored, as many of them, on their beam as possible. They're at the right height, so they come out chest high to the firefighter, and they've got an assisted roller device here, as well as linings in the trays that allow them to slide out easier. Really easy to move and maneuver out of the ladder chute onto the fire ground.
We also have this compartment down here, a little added storage here. What do we go with here?
Right, we have our long hooks for any overhaul that requires a long hook reach, and we have storage on each side for miscellaneous hand tools.
So we talked about the different features that Huber Heights built into the rig to assist with greater visibility from the tiller cab, but we didn't talk a lot about some of the features of the cab. So talk a bit about the cab itself, some of the features that are up there, and you know how it's set up for training.
Yeah, so one of the things we really liked about the cab itself, Chris, is that it is one of the larger cabs in the industry right now. It allows room for a training seat to be installed if desired on either side, and there's adequate space that it can be on both sides. And that is important on training the new operators. You know, if someone wanted to be in the cab with them at the same time, it's plenty of space. There's a lot of glass. The glass provides plenty. The line of sights is even enhanced by things like using this busting grating right here that allows the tiller operator to see down through that grating to the low sight lines right here on the back of the truck. So everything about the design was, again, trying to enhance that operator's visibility.
Now you mentioned training, the location of the seat, the training seat that can be placed up there for tiller operator training. Talk about the program that you guys have in place to get all your firefighters up to speed, because this is not like replacing a truck and getting behind the wheel. We got two wheels to get behind, and that can be a little tricky.
Oh, absolutely. So we were able to develop and are currently implementing a really rigorous training program, and it was developed with input from around the country, and we have a cadre of instructors, and at the end of a operator's training, they'll have spent between 40 and 80 hours between the tractor cab and the tiller operator seat.
Well, Chief, my thanks to you for taking some time out with me to go over the truck and go over all of its features. If anyone is looking for more information on this truck, or just the whole Sutphen product line, you can go to www.sutphen.com. So again, this has been Chris McLoone for FDIC International. Thanks again, Chief.
You're welcome.
Have a good one, and
Thank
stay
you.
safe.